Good morning. It's morning coffee on Monday. Wanted to elaborate a little bit on what I shared yesterday. I talked about using an oracle deck in my morning meditations. This is the deck that I use, and I thought it occurred to me this morning that it might be fun for a minute to just kind of pull a card from that deck for a little bit, just to get a basis for conversation topics. But before I do that, I wanted to share with you this book that I've been reading from. It's, let's see if you can see that well. Yeah. The Daemon. And this is one by Anthony Peake. It is an incredible piece of work because he pulls in the science of that has support for our, he calls it the daemon, I call it, and many people call it your higher self. This being that cohabitates the body with yourself, your soul. And I use different terms than he does, but you would see if you understood intimately the ideas. You have your soul, you have your higher self, you have your body, and he talks about your mind, and your daemon, and these two working synergistically together. Interestingly enough, in his concept, in his theory, he talks about the daemon being housed more in your right hemisphere of your brain, and the mind, your soul self, if you will, housed more in the left part of your brain. The right part of your brain doesn't do the communicating. And so if there's a study that he referenced where if the connection between the two is severed, there's no way for the right side of your brain then to communicate. And so it uses these images and synchronicities and thoughts and all of that, because the verbal skills come from the left side of your brain. And I haven't validated these things. His work is really pretty thorough, so I don't feel the need to validate it, but I will at some point. But the truth of the matter is, when you're listening to this, it resonates very strongly with this concept of the higher self, sending images and synchronicities and thoughts and ideas to you. And we think of it as our higher self or consciousness or intuition, and he gives it a name. And so it was very interesting it's an interesting read. And so I would encourage you, if you're looking for more pragmatic ways to link these ethereal concepts with earth realm realities, this might be a very interesting author for you to listen to. So the card that I pulled from my oracle deck this morning was Inner Truths. Inner truths. Inner truths are things that inner truths, and I just spoke about our daemon or our higher self. These are things that we know intrinsically, things that we believe within ourselves, things that we carry with us throughout our lives, that we can pull from within. They help us to navigate life, and your inner truth will guide you throughout your life. And it can change, though, and in many cases, for many people, it may need to change. I think about several friends that I have who are very, very liberal leaning, I guess would be the right way to say it. And they can become incredibly incensed and angry and outright pissed off at things that they disagree with, that people who are more right-leaning and conservative of nature feel are very much a truth for them. And because it's not my truth, I want to be angry with you for believing such nonsense. And it was interesting. I was sharing with a friend last night that I'm very accepting and embracing of people from all walks of life. And I dated an individual last year who was atheist. And that's fine for me. I would not align myself as an atheist, although I do not align myself with religion and religiosity. I think that there's a lot to be said around the mechanisms of that and how it can create small thinking for us. But I also respect and honor those who align around those principles. And I can speak to it very well. And I remember an instance when, because I use the terms source, God, universe very easily, because for me, there is something that is, always was, and always will be. This is the source of our existence, of the existence of everything, honestly. And I think it's a higher consciousness. I think it's an energetic frequency of being. I don't really have a real hardcore defined label for it. So I'm comfortable in the word God, I'm comfortable in the word source, I'm comfortable in the word universe. And this individual would bristle if I used the word God. And at one point in a conversation told me that it was a ridiculous thing to allow for, and yet called themselves Taoist in their leanings. And Taoism, as I understand it, has leanings into a belief system of eternalness, of the soul, of a source of our souls. And so it was very angry energy. And I thought to myself, it saddened me, because we have to be able to, as energetic beings, we have to be able to love one another completely. We can't sit in a space of saying, I am this and you are that, and you are wrong and I am right. None of us are right fully, and none of us are wrong. We are right for ourselves. It is my truth. It is your truth. And sometimes they resonate well together and sometimes they don't, but they can't be the source of anger and hatred and that sort of thing. They have to be a space in which we can have our truth and see one another's truth and just enjoy the diversity around us. And so I think that's something that's very, very poignant for me, is to think about, what is your truth? And does your inner truth allow for being a person of love and kindness to all? If it doesn't, maybe there's room for adjustment. Maybe. Those are my thoughts on Monday morning. Have a great day.